Welcome back. So, hopefully you remember from last time, made some pretty good progress with putting a hoop on the frame and then discovered a nice big rust hole in the bottom of the frame. My plan was to buy a length of tube, the right diameter and wall size, and weld in a section to cover the rust. Turns out there were two problems with that. First being that this is a 32mm diameter tube with 2mm wall. I couldn't find that anywhere. But more importantly, it's actually not on just a straight part of the tube, it curves up a bit, so it's a compound curve. So I'd never be able to find a bit of tube the right size. So what I really need in order to repair this is something the exact same size and shape as a Honda CB500 frame. The obvious choice is a Honda CB500 frame. But if I'm going to buy a new frame to repair this one, that would just be stupid. I may as well buy a good frame and use that instead. That would be more expensive and less fun, so I ruled out that idea. But then I remembered the left-hand fork of this frame is removable to get the engine in and out. Now it's the right-hand one that I got the problem with, but I could just buy a replacement frame piece that is removable and use that. So that's what I've done. This is a piece of Honda CB500 frame that's meant to be removable. It's the right width, right wall size, has that compound curve on it. And in actual fact, this is much better condition than the one that's on the bike, so I'm probably going to put this on the bike and use the one that came with the bike to do the repair. So first up, I want to see how well this fits up against, this is the non-removable one that has the hole in it. So just lay it on there and that's perfect. That is spot on, so I cut a section out of this, weld it into there, problem solved. And as you can see, this one's got some, minor surface corrosion underneath, whereas this one I bought was actually from a slightly later model bike. So, bolt this one into the frame, use the old one as a repair piece. So I'm just going to go around any other suspect parts of the frame and give it a little tap tap taparoo and see if it's rusted through or just surface. Might be another hole there. Plan is now, cut this section of metal out here, use it as a template to cut out the same section on the old new leg, and then weld that new section in. Should be fine. I wasn't sure whether to cut this out in two sections, but I think it's probably weakened in the middle as well, so I'm just going to cut one big chunk out here. So, I've cut the bad bit out of the frame. Now I just need to cut the same size and shape out of this piece of spare frame here. But first, I need something to take the edge off. So what I'm going to do now is get this aligned with where it would go on the frame. And to do that, I'm going to use this engine bolt, and I can put it through all three, so that gives me a starting point with the two pieces. Lined up the best they're going to be. Just try and get this in roughly the same place, and you can actually feel, because there's that compound curve, you can really feel where it just sort of slots into place. And I mean, it doesn't need to be exactly the same, but as long as it's close enough. Oh no, one of the lights in the workshop just died. What terrible timing. Right, well hopefully with those three lines I can finish the rest on the bench. In pitch fucking darkness. Conveniently the light just came back, so I'm going to try and do this quickly before it goes again. So we've got a pretty clear mark there. So next will be cut that out, erring on the side of making it too big, because I can always trim it down again once I trial fit it. So here's the piece I cut out originally with its replacement, and they look pretty close, and you can see that angle there is a bit steep, so I'm going to have to take a little bit off of that. It looks like it might be a bit wide there. I'm just going to trial fit it in the frame and see how that goes. Just a little bit long on that side, and a little bit wide up the front here. So here we have my patch piece. I can sort of highlight the compound curves now, because you can see obviously curved on that end because it's a tube, but it also curves down slightly towards the end, which was why I didn't want to try just making it out of a tube, because I never would be able to get that right. So pretty happy with this. Let's go trial fit it. I didn't really want to finish the video here, as I don't feel like I've achieved very much, but my welder has broken, annoyingly, so that's all I can do for now. And this video has already been so long in the making, I thought I'll just get it out now. And once I get a new welder, which I've already ordered, pick it back up, and the next video will be actually welding the repair panel on. And it'd be very easy for me at this point just to leave it at that and say, look, I cut this excellent repair panel, it fits perfectly. But the truth is, that took me 4 attempts to get that right. I even had to order another leg, so you can only cut 2 out of each leg. The reason I'm pointing that out is because, firstly, I'm not a professional, I'm going to make mistakes. I just really couldn't seem to get the shape quite right. It was quite an awkward cut. But also, just as a reminder that pretty much everything you see on YouTube and Instagram is going to be edited just to only show the good bits. So I don't like that, I don't want to do that. I fuck up all the time. It took me 4 attempts just to cut a slither of metal that would fit in a hole, but I got there in the end and it's ready to weld. I just don't have a welder at the moment. This is the current condition of the welder in pieces. Problem is that the gear started slipping on the motor, which meant the wire wasn't feeding. This is already the second gearbox, so I replaced the one it came with because it wasn't feeding very well. And I found also that the wire feed is just a bit inconsistent, so I think the button in the handle might actually not be working very well. So at this point I've decided to cut my losses. This welder was only cheap anyway. It's served me for the last few years. I've learned how to weld on it and learned a lot about welding. And I've ordered something proper, better, and that'll be arriving soon. So apologies if you've been waiting for a long time for this video and haven't even done very much. We've been really busy with the MR2. And also apologies if you're waiting for the next MR2 video. We're currently waiting for parts. They should be arriving in the next couple of days. And if you like either of the projects, then awesome, we like you too. So until the next video on, probably it'll be the MR2 next, but maybe the bike, depending on how soon the welder arrives. Thanks for watching.